Hi, I'm Lara Volpe. I'm a physiotherapist and a Pilates instructor. I'm currently working teaching Pilates with my physio hat on, so mostly to people who are coming back from injuries or returning to exercise or pre or postnatal. I've got two of my own kids and it was a bit of an interesting journey for me to get them. And so I have plenty of personal experience in the world of trying to conceive, being pregnant, and also being a new mummy. As a physio, one of the main questions that I get all the time with my pregnant ladies is, can I exercise and what exercise should I be doing? And the answer to that is a definite yes, you can and you should be exercising throughout your pregnancy. That is the recommendation by the medical guidelines. In any uncomplicated pregnancy, and you will know if you have a complicated pregnancy based on conversations you've had with your doctor, you should exercise. It has amazing benefits for both you, the mummy, and your baby in terms of cardiovascular health, endorphins, mind-body connection, mood, connecting with your baby, general fitness and strength to be able to keep strong and fit through your pregnancy as your body changes, and also during delivery and afterwards. So types of exercises that you should be doing is things that are low impact, so not running and jumping and stuff like that, unless you've been doing that for many years before you fell pregnant. So if you are a marathon runner, you can continue to run marathons in the beginning part of your pregnancy, and then at some point you will feel this is getting a little bit too much and it doesn't feel quite right, and at that point you should probably stop and change the type of exercise that you're doing. I think the biggest message is to respect your body each and every day where it's at. And that might mean that one day you've got bounds of energy and you can go and do one of your higher intensity fitness classes, and the next day you can barely make it to the corner to get your coffee in the morning. And both of those are absolutely fine and a normal part of being pregnant. And you really need to listen to your body. Each day will be different and each pregnancy will be different. You are growing a human, and that is an absolute beautiful miracle, and you really need to respect the process. During pregnancy, we have so many changes in our bodies, both hormonal and physiological, and that is also the case if you are going through fertility treatments and then also once you've had your baba. Our bodies produce a lot more blood volume, in saying that not as much iron, so we often feel very fatigued, but our heart and our lungs have to pump extra hard to keep the blood and oxygen flowing throughout our body. So we really do need to be mindful of not exercising at a very high intensity, and you should be able to use the talk test, which is have a relatively easy conversation. You should be able to speak in sentences, not needing to stop and take a breath every few seconds. A few of the do's and don'ts about exercise. I said before, the impact, high impact stuff is not the best, especially if your body's not exceptionally used to that. You don't want to be doing anything that is physically dangerous to you or your baby, where you might be injured, whether that's a fall or through contact. And you also don't want to be doing anything that really stresses your abdominal muscles. So you can still strengthen your tummy muscles, and the parts that are in the lower part of your belly, deep into your core, that's essential to strengthen both for your pelvic stability as well as your spine mobility and stability to help prevent pain. But we shouldn't be doing crunches. So anything that compresses your belly and your uterus region in a bending forwards motion, avoid that. But things that we use our core muscles to stabilize, that's great. I like to do things in side lying or like a side oblique strengthening, because it's a very good way to keep the muscles strong from the sides to help prevent that abdominal separation from becoming too much. So abdominal separation is something that we watch out for. It does happen to all pregnant women who carry to full term. The fascia between the two sides of your six-pack muscle does separate in order to make space for the baby to grow, but it depends on how wide that is and how deep it is and how quickly it recovers naturally after you've given birth. That determines whether it's a problem or not. So when you're pregnant, you can't stop the separation from happening, but you can help prevent it from becoming really bad. And we do that by watching out that any exercise or movements that we do don't cause doming. So doming, you will notice if you experience it, where your stomach, instead of being a nice sort of flat round curve, becomes like a dome or a triangle in the center. One of the things that often happens is when you're getting up out of bed. So you want to make sure that you're not just yanking yourself up from a lying down to sitting position. You want to roll over to your side and then use your hands to press you up. Another thing which we watch out for in pregnancy is pelvic girdle pain. So you've got the joint where two sides of your pelvis meet in the front, and then also where the two sides meet your tailbone at the back. And because of the hormone relaxin, which is rushing through our body to make everything nice and loose and floppy, which is awesome because it allows the baby to grow in that space and eventually come out, it does also mean that the ligaments that normally are really strong and supportive and keep our pelvis stable and attached to our spine really well, they become a bit loose. And so some people are fine throughout their pregnancy, but a lot of women will either get pain at the front or the back of their pelvis, which is usually made worse by things that are asymmetrical in your legs and cause like a shearing or a twisting force in your pelvis. So single leg work like lunges, single leg balance, step ups, anything where you open your knees and sort of stretch your inner thighs, that can cause pubic symphysis pain. So you do want to modify your work to not be so single leg dominant. In saying that though, like with everything else, if it feels fine and you don't get pain during or after your exercises, then you're one of the lucky ones and you can keep going. But make sure that you're working with someone who is trained in pre and postnatal, and they can help modify your exercises to manage that. One of the other questions I get asked a lot is, can I lie on my back when I'm pregnant? And the answer again is yes, as long as you feel good. Some ladies can lie on their back all the way through till the day they give birth, and in fact will be sleeping on their back and giving birth on their back, and that's fine. You will know if it's a problem for you if you lie down on your back and you start to feel nauseous, dizzy, like your heart is racing, short of breath, like a heaviness inside your chest. Anything like that means that your blood flow is being compromised and you shouldn't be lying on your back. But if not, go for it. Lie on your back for 10 minutes, do some exercises, do some stretches, and relieve that aching back. That's the other benefit of exercise, and Pilates specifically, is that we really do work on our posture and our postural awareness. So as our baby grows, our rib cage will widen and spread to make space for the baby to be underneath, and that has to happen. But you do want to have an awareness of where your rib cage is in comparison to where your hips are. And then also you've got this huge ball in front of your body, and that changes your center of gravity. And so we lean back more to prevent us from falling flat on our faces. So having that awareness of your posture, of trying to keep sort of your ribs stacked over your hips and your pelvis nice and even, that's going to help prevent or relieve back pain, which is so common during pregnancy. Having really strong hip and glute muscles will help stabilize your pelvis, and again work up into your spine to help with that pain. But you do want to make sure that you're not doing too much glute and hip strengthening, because sometimes tight muscles can pull on those unstable joints and cause you pain. So there is a fine line with all exercise of not doing too much, but rather just the right amount, and then combining that with gentle stretching, pelvic floor exercises, and some mobility work. So pelvic floor exercises is a big one, which I always have many long and involved conversations about. Your pelvic floor basically hold your organs inside your body, and they keep the holes shut. So no matter what type of birth you have, the pregnancy itself will put pressure on your pelvic floor muscles, and that will cause changes, of course, during your pregnancy and then also afterwards once you've had your baby. So we want our pelvic floor muscles to be strong, to be able to keep everything in place. But almost more importantly, you want your pelvic floor muscles to be able to lengthen and stay strong in that lengthened position. You want your pelvic floor muscles to be able to relax and open to hopefully let a baby through. So again, working with a professional who knows all about the pelvic floor and how that works in pregnancy is really beneficial during your pregnancy, to find that awareness and find that connection to be able to switch on and switch off your pelvic floor, and that'll help in labour and then definitely with a recovery post-birth. So there's lots that you can do when you're pregnant to help you stay fit, healthy, active and bond with your baby in a beautiful and safe way, but there are also things that we should be careful of. So good luck, and if there is any questions or any doubts or anything doesn't feel right, trust that instinct, talk to your doctor or your women's health physio and make sure that you're doing what's right for you and your particular pregnancy at that time.